Welcome back to the program on our Book Talk segment today. Great to welcome a woman who's written a very interesting and very helpful book as well. It's actually a book and a kit. It's called the Creative Care Imagination Kit. The book that goes along with it is called Creative Care, A Revolutionary Approach to Dementia and Elder Care. Very unique approach to it, and we're going to find out about it today. Ann Basting joined us by telephone today, and she joined us right now. And Ann, good to talk with you. How are you?
I'm good, Doug. It's great to be here with you.
Well, what city are you in? Milwaukee today?
I am in Milwaukee. If I picked up a rock and threw it really hard, I could maybe hit Lake Michigan.
Oh, very good. Yeah,
pretty close.
I've never been up to that part of the world, but I heard it's very nice, particularly in the summer. So good to talk to somebody from the Midwest. But I had a chance to read through the book, and I really found it interesting. Not only what you've done in your own career, you've had a lot of acting experience and writing experience, but you kind of put this together with helping people that are dealing with dementia. I think that's kind of an interesting combination. How'd you come about that?
Well, I spent much of my youth, my childhood, enamored with creative practices. Like I drew and painted, and I loved writing, and it really became a freeing other world for me as a kid. And I just grew up knowing the power of those tools. And found suddenly then when I was working, in relationship with my grandmother who had a stroke, that I could use these techniques to free up stories that she could no longer tell from a stroke that took her ability to speak. And then applied those to people with Alzheimer's and dementia, really improvisational theater techniques. And it's sort of bringing the world and the tools that artists and people in the arts and culture sector have known about for a long time into the health and social service sector, which unfortunately is still news that these things are really valuable and easy to use and very effective tools for meaningful engagement and communication.
And my mother was a nurse for many years before she had my sister and myself, although she continued to do it. But she talks quite a bit about when she was a nurse, particularly dealing with people that at that time, they didn't call it, I guess, Alzheimer's, but, dementia or strokes. And they used to play music for a lot of them. And you play a record or maybe a song they recognize, and a lot of them would be able to either sing it or at least would be able to talk better after they heard the music. So I guess this is kind of similar to what you're doing here, right? You're doing improvisational or making up stories or improvising, right? To help them kind of get the memory going better.
Exactly. I think, a way to think of this is we know that people always appreciate, listening to music or having artwork in the hallway or having it be people coming in and playing music for people. But then there's a whole nother level where people can actually create themselves or co-create with a facilitator because the arts they're an emotional language and a symbolic language. And when dementia might take away the rational tools of language, traditional putting a sentence together, you can use sound and movement and words in a poetic phrasing, visual art in order to express who you are and what your thoughts are about the world. Those tools are all there for us, even as we experience dementia. So in some ways, it's just bringing these tools to people who have had other avenues of expression cut off to them. They're interpersonal communication tools for caregivers, but also, a way to completely re-envision how programming might be done in a long-term care facility. Like I just did a project just before COVID shut everything down with 12 rural nursing homes where we all did creative workshops over a year to reimagine the story of Peter Pan together and then staged an original play in which anyone who wanted to be in it could be in it for an outside audience. It was fantastic. So I think there's really, no limit to what people can do if we bring them the opportunity.
Is it a different part of the brain, Doctor? I guess it is, obviously, that part of the brain is awakened or stimulated where they can communicate through that part of the brain as where they can't the other part that's unfortunately being destroyed by Alzheimer's, right, or dementia. Is that what's going on there?
Well, if you think of it this way, if you ask a person with dementia a specific question that has one answer, so do you remember that time we took that trip together, or do you know my name, right? There's one answer, and the pathway to get to that answer in the brain might well be broken.
Mm-hmm.
So that answer is gone. They can't access it. Instead, if you ask the person something like, what sounds do you hear? What color would you like to pick? What name would you like to give me right now? There are a million answers. And so the person has there's a million pathways that are open that aren't blocked. But because we so narrowly focus on memory and fact, we're asking the person to use the broken highways instead of the open ones. So this approach just moves toward the open pathways for expression, and it's where you can communicate with each other and reach each other using the imagination rather than trying to go in through memory.
Yeah, almost like rerouting in a sense. To different part.
Yeah. Opening up more opportunities for expression. Yeah.
Well, that's great. I know I want to just talk a little bit about the book, obviously, but the kit, which I think is interesting, it comes with the Creative Care Imagination Kit. You have cards, what you call beautiful questions and thoughtful actions. I guess each one kind of gives an opening to for these people to imagine, right, or open up their imagination as best they can to remember, right?
Exactly. I think, the thing that I've always heard is I understand the basic idea of what you're talking about, but give me tangible tools so that I can bring them with me on a visit, or I can use them on, say, professional caregiver in a care setting. Give me a kit that I can use, right? And so we made one for people. It's got 15 beautiful questions that you can use to open conversations. It has 15 story prompt cards, which you can use with beautiful questions like, what do you want to call them? Where do you want to say this takes place? And to slowly build a story improvisationally. And then it has instructions and a really beautifully designed journal where you can write down responses. So it can be in a little poem form or a little drawing or a regular story. So you have it really as a little legacy of the person's imagination and your shared moments together.
Yeah. I know you talk about in the book just the tremendous reaction you've gotten in doing these programs, I guess in various nursing homes or facilities around Milwaukee, I guess around the country as well. Hopefully it's taking off. Are you seeing that? Or?
Time Slips, the nonprofit that I work with, has trained facilitators, and there's almost 1,000 certified facilitators across the world in all 50 states now and about 20 different countries, which is thrilling. We offer on that website, timeslips.org, free resources for families going through this training and something we call engagement parties so that they can host a little party to just give these really basic engagement techniques to other family members so that they know how to be in company with people. So we've really been thrilled. Once people let go of their apprehension, like, I'm not creative, I can't do this, and realize that it's really just a simple opening of expression, that anyone really can do it, and everyone is creative, then everyone is just so relieved to find a way to connect in a meaningful way.
Yeah, that's great. Unfortunately, we're just about out of time, or a lot of time, but the name of the book, again, is Creative Care, A Revolutionary Approach to Dementia and Elder Care, and the Creative Care Imagination Kit goes along with it, and Ann Basting has been our guest. And give out your website once again, or people can get both the book and the kit.
Sure, you can just find Creative Care, either the book which is now in paperback, or the kit, just at any of your booksellers, online or the old-fashioned shop. And then the nonprofit that I work with is called timeslips.org.
Great. And Basting, real pleasure talking to you. Keep up the tremendous work, and hopefully we can talk to you again. Thanks for being with us.
Thanks so much for having me.
I'm Stan Brock. 30 years ago, I formed Remote Area Medical to help people overseas. But then we found generations of families in America isolated by poverty from the health care they need. Together, we can take dental, vision, and medical help to 1 million adults and their kids, right here at home in the United States of America.